Hi, welcome to Math Today. We're going to be doing a little bit more of comparing things. Today we're going to be talking about mass, or how heavy things are. So for this particular lesson, you're going to need to get out this particular book. And in this book, you are going to need page number 51. 51 looks like this. It's got some things that we call balances on it. We're going to use this with our lesson when we get to the end of it. So just make sure you get this, and you're going to need a pencil, okay? So, for today, we are going to do a little bit of comparing things, and I'm going to get that ready, and then I'll hop right back on here and start that lesson. Okay, so for today, like I said, we're going to be working with weight or mass, or how heavy things are. So you've done some comparing with lengths, you've done some comparing with how long things are, you've done some comparing with looking at two numbers and seeing which one's greater or less. Today we're going to talk about how much things weigh. So I've got two little guys here, and I want you to make a prediction or an estimate. Estimate's a fancy word for guess. Which one of these do you think is heavier? So is it little I'd say an avocado wrestler over here, or is it Skippy the skateboarding poodle? Which one do you think is heavier? It's kind of hard to tell, isn't it? They're about the same size. You're not holding them, so you can't really say this one's heavier than this one. I'm going to show you guys a tool that'll help out with this. Come on. Ta-da! Here's our tool. This thing right here is called a pan balance. It's called a pan balance because this is referred to as a pan. I know we can't cook anything on it. It's a pan for this particular instrument. And it's called a balance because both of these sides are the same. If I take one of these off, it goes way down over here because I just took all this off of it. If I put it back down, it will even out. So those things weigh the same. Now, I've got two little guys, and what I'm going to do with my pan balance is really show you what happens when you have something that is heavier in a pan balance. Some of you have a scale at home. That kind of tells you how much you weigh. You might have one in your bathroom. This is a different tool that we use, but it's basically the same thing. It's going to show us which one of these two things is heavier. I'm not going to put them in just yet because I want you to come way down here, table side, and I want you to look underneath this thing. Can you guys see the space underneath this? It's not really touching the table. In fact, I'm going to turn this whole contraption sideways so you can see So for our pan balance, when we're using it, it's really important that we make sure that there's gaps underneath it, okay? So right now, this one right here is off of the table. This one is off of the table. The middle part is touching the table. I want to show you guys what happens in this red cup if I decide to put our guacamole wrestler in it, okay? So I want you to watch real close on this red cup. You don't need to worry about the yellow cup just yet, but I want you to see what happens when it goes in. Make a prediction. What do you think's going to happen? Are you looking at the gap at the bottom? Ooh, that gap, what happened to it? It disappeared. And that is because on this side, there is more weight going on than on this side. I want you to come over here and check out this one. Watch the yellow one this time. I'm going to even it out again. And I'm getting ready to put that guacamole wrestler in this side again. See what happens with the yellow part. Whoa! That yellow part went way up. So what happened was I added the weight over here on this side. And what happened with it was this thing went from here to here, okay? So we now know that this wrestler is very, very heavy. We're going to move the camera so you guys can see what happens if we put both of those things in. So I'll be right back with you in just 1 sec. All right, so we tried the guacamole wrestler over here in the red one. When I put it in, the red one went straight down, the yellow one went straight up. So when there was something heavy in this side, it went straight down and this one went up. That's how a balance works. Now, compare these two things and see which one is heavier, what we need to do is put them both in at the same time. And the way we're going to tell which one's heavier is we're going to look and see which one goes down more. So if the red one goes down more to the table, then we can say that the guacamole wrestler is heavier. If the yellow one goes up, then the little skateboard dog is going to be lighter. Now, if the yellow one goes down when I put the little skateboard dog into it, then we know that this dog is actually heavier than the little guacamole wrestler. I want you to make a prediction right now. It's okay if you don't get it right, because like I said, when you get things wrong, that's just when you get a chance to learn. Which one do you think is going to be heavier? Which one's going to go down farther? With these scales, sometimes it takes a minute for us to figure it out, okay? So it might be right away, it might be not. We're just going to watch and see which one goes down. Ooh, check out those buckets. Which one is down farther? Can you see? I'm going to get way down here and look. And to me, it looks like that red bucket is down farther. And the yellow bucket actually went up. So my hypothesis is, or at least what I'm observing right now, is that guacamole wrestler is heavier. I know that because the balance went down. I want to try it the other way just to make sure that these two things the two balances are correct. So right now we think the guacamole wrestler is the heaviest thing. I'm going to take them out. I'm going to make sure this is back to normal so they are back in the same spot. And I'm going to switch, okay? So if our prediction is right, we think the guacamole wrestler is heavier. It won't matter which side these are on because they're the same on both sides. So if I put him in over here and the yellow one goes down this time and the red one goes up, then we can say without a shadow of a doubt that the guacamole wrestler is heavier than the little dog. So let's check that out. Put him in again. Putting them in at the same time, but it doesn't really matter which way you put it. It'll always end up weighing the same. So check that out. Did the yellow one go down this time? It did. If you're looking at it the same way I am, it went down a whole bunch, whereas the red one went up. So in this one, we can say that the guacamole wrestler is way heavier than this dog. There's my first little experiment. Now, I have got some other fun toys. For this one, we're going to use my old friend and your friend and hero of the Autobots, Optimus Prime. Like I said, I like Transformers, and this is one of them. This is the leader of the good robots, Optimus Prime. We're going to see which one's heavier between Optimus Prime and our old friend, the guacamole wrestler. So now we have two new things that we're going to compare. We know our little dog is pretty light, so I want to see which one of these is heavier. I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to make a guess. I'm going to estimate which one is heavier. I'm going to look at him and I'm going to say, I think Optimus Prime is bigger. He's taller. If I measured him, he's probably going to be longer. I think he's going to be the heaviest thing. So when I put these in, I'm going to think that he's heavier than this guy. I think whichever bucket he goes in is going to go down the most. And the other one is going to go up because I think he's heavier. So let's try it out, okay? I've got my two things right here. I can kind of tell which one's heavier just by doing this. This scale tells us for sure when it goes down which one's heavier. So I'm going to put them in and we're going to see. Whoa, that one went down so fast. The red one went straight to the table. The yellow one went straight up in the air. It's surprising that the guacamole wrestler didn't jump out and do a flying tackle on somebody because guacamole wrestlers do. So we know for a fact, looking at this balance, that Optimus Prime is heavier. But to know it for a fact, for sure, I want to try them out and switch them just to make sure. Because right now it might not be balanced. We don't know. So I'm going to take out my two guys. I'm going to set this back to normal. It's flat. They're the same. I'm gonna switch them. Guacamole Wrestler is gonna go into the red. Optimus Prime is gonna go into the yellow. We're making a prediction right now. I think Optimus Prime is gonna go straight down again. Guacamole Wrestler is gonna go straight up in the red one. Let's find out. Whoa. Our prediction was correct. Optimus Prime went straight to the ground. Guacamole Wrestler went straight up. That means Optimus Prime is the heaviest part because this thing went just like this. Essentially, I put it in there and the scales went. That means this guy is way lighter. Can you see everything?
Mm-mm.
You can't see everything? I can't go back any farther, I don't think. So the scales went, ba-doom! Here's Optimus Prime, he's heavy, he's made out of metal, he supports the entire Autobot cause. Whereas we have the Guacamole Wrestler, and he is a high-flying friend, he is very light, he went way up here. So that means he is lighter than Optimus Prime. Now what can we say about Optimus Prime and the dog? We know the dog was lighter than the Guacamole Wrestler. The Guacamole Wrestler was lighter than Optimus Prime. So if I have my dog and my Optimus Prime, do you think the dog's lighter than Optimus Prime? We could check. Let's check. Got my little things here. Bam! Optimus Prime sinks like a rock, falls to the ground. The dog goes way up. If we were comparing these two things, Optimus Prime is way heavier than our skateboard dog. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to think about these little balances. In your workbook, you're going to try to figure out which one is heavier. So here we go. We've got our pictures right here of different things. So I want you to look at the balances. There's one right there. I've got a balance in the middle. Pretend that this thing right here is my little balance, just like that. Which one of these went straight down like our balance? In this particular picture, this train is way down here and this bucket went way up in the air. Which one do you think is heavier? The heavier one goes straight down, so this train is way heavier than that bucket. The bucket went straight up. So what I want you to do with this one, I want you to look at all of these pictures, find the one that is, oh, I'm so sorry. You're supposed to circle the one that's lighter, not heavier. I don't know why I've been talking about heavier this entire time. You're supposed to circle the ones that go way up, not the ones that I've been talking about, which are down. Which one of this is way up? So in this one, you would circle the bucket because it's higher than the train. It's the lightest one out of these two. And for all these pictures, I want you to find this thing that is the lightest. Which one is the one that goes way up? Once you get that done, take a picture of that page, send it to your teacher so we know how you feel about the term lighter. Pretend that I haven't been saying heavier the entire time we've been doing this lesson. You want the things that are lighter. You want the ones that go way up. Circle the ones that go way up on those things. So that's the page for today. That's the work you got to do. Good sticking with me. Thank you so very much. Thanks for watching me do my experiments. When you come back to school, we'll be doing those experiments again, I'm sure. Have a good day. That was your math lesson for today.